So
That'd be good.
let's talk about your match now. I don't know about you and Rob, but yeah, I don't know about you and Rob, but we have been waiting for this match for a long time, and finally it is happening.
Yeah.
So
I've always said that I feel like it's inevitable. Rob and I have had so much bad blood between us, genuine bad blood. We've had a lot of heat, and we've had attempts at making matches happen, and it didn't come about for a number of different reasons each time. And we both just shelved it. We both it was to the point where neither of us were interested in talking to each other. Neither of us were interested in anything to do with each other. I said, look, I don't even want to be in the same room as the dude. But I also said, I feel it'll be inevitable someday. I thought it would happen in the WAL, but here it is, King of the Table 3. They got permission from WAL. They contacted WAL and said, would it be okay if we match these two? And WAL said, yep, no worries, go for it. So here we are. It'll finally happen. There's so much interesting fact this year, like you said. I think a lot of people are waiting to see what happens, because the exchange of words between the two of us in respect to where we lie relative to each other has been pretty heated, to say anything about it. I think the pressure's all on Rob, because he's the one saying that he thinks he can beat me with ease. I don't think I can beat him with ease. I expect he and I to be here, and I expect to be better than him and get a win. Rob thinks he's up here. He thinks I'm down here somewhere. So it'll backfire on him if he doesn't prepare properly. If he needs to take this match seriously. If he doesn't, he'll look silly. If he comes in casual mentally, particularly mentally, I know Rob's strong. We know Rob's strong, but if he comes in casually in a mental approach, if he's not focused and fired up, he'll find himself very quickly in a position where he's in trouble, and it'll all collapse. If Rob comes in fired up and aggressive and wanting the win and respecting what is across the table from him, then we have a good match and he may win it. But if he comes in casual, oh my goodness, he's going to look silly.
So you were mentioning that you were cutting down to 86 kilos for Zloty, and right now you're at somewhere around 93 kilos. So how does that affect? So what?
Yeah.
Do we have a weight cap yet?
Before this match was offered, it's not official yet. It's 210 is what I keep on expressing and believing it will be at. Rob is a middleweight WAL hammer holder. I'm a middleweight at the end of the day in the respect to that. We can both artificially sort of go above our natural body weights and be around 220, even 225. Heaviest I've ever been was for Lachlan, which was 230. I don't see the point in that again. I don't personally want to do that. I'd much prefer to say 210 as a max. WAL pulls at 200. If Rob and I were pulling at WAL, it would be 200. So given that I think Rob's a little heavier than me at the moment, I'm being a gentleman saying, look, let's make it 210 then, because I'm 200 right now. I can pull it 200 tomorrow. And as you said, I was preparing in my mind for Zloty as my next thing, and I thought, okay, to give myself the best chance of winning a Zloty title, I'll go for the 86 kilos. So I was tapering down, looking to sit around 90 kilos was the goal, and then water cut the last couple of kilos. But with this match, I'll get a bit heavier again. I'll get up to sort of 97, 98 kilos, and then if I have to do a slight water cut to 210 for the weigh-in. But with 3 months still to go before the match, I'm not worried about being light at the moment. I actually feel really healthy at the moment. I've been moving house, so that's helped drop a lot of weight. And moving house, as anyone would know who's done it before, it takes a lot of energy, and so I've dropped a lot of fat. I'm a lot leaner than I usually am. But yeah, I'll build it back up steadily and slowly, and I think 210 will be the weight.
Yeah, I do think the 210 is good makes sense for both of you. Like Rob has competed at 200 pounds for a long time, so he cannot really complain about 210 that he can't make weight. He can easily make weight, and you have been always around the same weight, maybe even lighter than that. So it will be fair for you too. And I want to go back to the Sasha Andreev match. I got kind of involved into that heat because I made a prediction with
Yeah.
you. So a lot of people were saying that since you were friends with Ryan Bowen and you predicted Rob to lose that match 6-0, because if you remember during that interview, right a few hours before Armwar started, I clearly said that I just cannot see any way that Rob Vigent is going to take one pin against Sasha Andre. So
Yeah, I remember it.
maybe I didn't like it. And a lot of people were saying that Rob didn't look his usual self against Sacho. He wasn't fired up. It is not possible. Like not for 1 second, I believed that Rob thought that he's going to win this match, because starting from when the match was announced, he never looked excited about that match. And when in front of you, when there is Storm Shalino and or Jordan Sill or Sasha Andre, it is a completely different thing. Like if that match was again against Storm Shalino, we will see for sure the fired up Rob Vigent. But how can you get fired up in your own mind when you yourself believe that you don't have chances of winning? And when we see about this match against you, about your match, the day that match was announced, he's like literally jumping up and down. He's as excited as I've ever seen him, because he believes that he can win this match.
Yeah.
The same thing that
I see that in you too, and I'm glad he has that. For this match to be the best match it can be, we want both of us fired up. We want both of us believing we can win, and I think Core Sports recognizes that. I think that the energy between Rob and I will be so thick and real that it's gonna be full on. I don't think there's gonna be a match that I've experienced as full on as this, where two people come together with such a point to prove and such passion behind proving it. I expect Rob to really be fired up. He's usually a slow starter, but I don't think we'll see a slow start from Rob. I think he'll be belting the table already as he's walking out. He'll be like, let me at this little ginger from Australia. Let me at him. And that's good. I want that. I want the credibility. That's what I've been hunting. I haven't had the chance to get the credibility. I've been committed to arm wrestling for 9 years now, and I haven't had the chance to get the credibility that I believe I deserve. This is a huge opportunity for me. It's a big step up. It's a couple of steps up the ladder. If I was in the WAL still, naturally my next match was Brendan Lemon on Melville Hill. I've gotten through him. Then I would have been in the conversation of, okay, now you can have a crack at Rob. But time has gone by and things have changed, and here's the opportunity. I believe I have the tools to trouble Rob significantly. I believe I analyze well someone's game. I believe I can see where people like to be and see where people don't like to be. And I'm keeping my cards very close to my chest in my preparations, because this match matters a lot to me. So I'm not going to be telling you how I'm going to beat Rob. I'm not going to be putting training videos out where I'm doing what I will do specifically against Rob. But one thing I know that I am good at is reading arm wrestling. I can read it. I don't believe Rob can read it anywhere near to the level that I can. Rob is strong. Rob has aces that are superior to mine in those respects. If I were to fight him in those lanes, I'm in trouble. But there are very clear lanes that I can put him in that aren't his aces. And they might not even necessarily be my aces, but I'm far more willing to go into places that are different and just get a stop. Honestly, a stop anywhere with my hand and wrist still in the battle will mean that I'm going to win. If it stops anywhere and my hand and wrist is still intact, I will win. I will not lose if the match stops. He needs to pin me. He needs to pin me in either one surge, or in that first surge, really take me out of control, and then he can get me on the second or third. If this match stops and my wrist is still in a position where I have access to all the tools available to me, then he will flounder from there.
I believe that you have a better endurance than Rob, but for that endurance to work, you will have to be like really closed in the strength gap. Like strength gap, if that is big, I'm not sure endurance is going to play any part.
I gotta survive that opening exchange of force power. And that is the thing that is very clear to me as well.
And one thing that I think, and I'm happy for you, that should be in your favor is king of the table rules, because you have mentioned in the past that you had some trouble you had some trouble slipping against John Brezink. And RVJ is same.
Oh, yeah.
RVJ doesn't really let you slip very easily. And now you don't have to
I
slip.
agree. I agree. Now I don't have to expend any energy getting to the strap at all. I just say, strap us up, Bill. Strap us up. It goes there. And yeah, that's a big advantage. And I hope Rob knows that.
Right.
I hope Rob knows that now it's the ball's in my court in that respect. And it is. I agree. It's 100% an advantage. And I am a better strap puller than Rob. I think Rob would be kidding himself if he tried to say he's a better strap puller than me. And when I say that, I'm not talking about strength. I'm talking about execution in the strap. He is not a particularly good strap puller. He was a very bad strap puller for a long time. He tried to fix it because Todd Hutchins used to beat him over and over and over again in the straps. And he used to have troubles with people like Craig Touye and Storm Chelino in the straps. He'd often just lose in the straps and be like, what the hell? He fixed it. You know, in a basic sense, he fixed it and he got happy. But the strap has been my life for 9 years. I spend 95% of my training time in the strap when I'm pulling. And the wizardry or the dark arts, whatever way you want to see it, matters. And if you don't know that those things exist, which for someone like Rob, he doesn't. You only know what you know at the end of the day. And there's all these unknowns for Rob in the straps. He doesn't know there's more to learn. He doesn't recognize there's more to take. And those little things, I have dedicated a lot of energy, a lot of thought, a lot of study, very close, precise study. I've had endless conversations with Jordan Davis and Devin Larratt on this exact topic of how to maximize every little bit of the strap. And I've even sat there with John Brzenk and chatted with John, and he said, I have never thought about the strap as much as you do. Just when we're talking about the strap, he's like, this is crazy how much you've thought about the strap. Because John was always just too strong people that he didn't have to think much. But one of the most beautiful things about the sport, and one of my personal favorite things, is the weaker man can win. And the strap is a tool that allows you to find things. And if you're ahead of the curve that your opponent's on in respect to your strap execution, you really can negate a superior strength. So I will go out on the record to say Rob's a stronger human. He is. He's a stronger human. His bicep strength is better. He's got a bigger hand, and his subsequent wrist flexion is better. I would guess our pronation is probably similar. I don't think my pronation's bad at all. I think his is solid. I think my wrist rise and his wrist rise, I'm guessing, are probably similar. I know mine's decent, but I'm sure his is fine. I do believe I have better side pressure in a supinated sense. I believe if we both ended up supinated, I would win the endurance battle, and he would not be able to get through my elbow, and I'd get through his, and I'd end up pressing. So I believe I have superior position in that. But the question is how much? How much is that superior strength of his? How superior is it? And is it enough to get past my elbow and my strapping ability? Because I tell you what, when that strap gets on and I get tied to Rob, if he doesn't pin me in one surge and I get a stop, you'll see a look on my face. Like there will be a moment of smile where I'll feel, I've got it. I've got it. I might be 20 seconds away from the pin yet, but I'll know I've already got it. And Rob won't even know that I've got it. He'll still think he's in the battle. And he'll try and he'll try and he'll try and he'll try. And there'll be a magical moment where Rob will look over at me just to check on what's going on. And he'll see a look of happiness on my face when he was expecting a look of struggle. That's the dream I'm dreaming. I'm seeing that again and again and again. That's where I want to take the match. And yeah, can't wait to find out if I can do it.
So I think you are going to be faster than Rob for sure. I think you would be,
yeah.
Because we have seen Rob against Todd Hutchings, and I don't really remember him being faster than Todd Hutchings too. And like Todd Hutchings is not a fast arm wrestler.
Rob's a catcher at the end of the day. Rob is a catcher unless he's way too strong for someone, then he'll go. But he expects to catch for sure.
So I want to go back to the Lachlan and Adair match once again. If Lachlan was, let's say, 10% slower than you, could you have done anything to his wrist in that match? We saw you were attentive at top roll.
I actually don't think that Lachlan is faster than me. What you saw on the day was Lachlan is tremendously stronger than me. That it negated my ability to be fast. he was just that strong that I couldn't be fast. The best way to stop someone's speed is to have a superior strength in your hand. There was nothing. I couldn't be fast anywhere because it was instantly contained in static threat. So I don't think that I'm slow by any stretch. When you see me against people that I am matched up with in a power sense, I'm 90% of the time the first one to move. I don't think I'll have a drama based on Rob's record of being the first one to move when he's pulling people in his weight category. Craig Touye is obviously faster than him. Storm was faster than him. Justin was faster than him. Well, I was faster than Justin. When I pulled Justin, I was the first one to move. So I think that I'll be the first one to move against Rob. The question is, will I blow through his hand with that speed? Will I get into a high hook? Will I get into a deep hook? Will I get into a king's move? I don't know. There's lots of options. I'm happy with any of them, to be honest. But like I said, I'm keeping my cards close. So we will see. What do you think I'm going to do, Pradeep? Am I going to go for a side pressure drive? I'm going to try to top roll. I'm going to post and get high.
First of all, you have never arm wrestled RVJ. We all know that. So I think both of you will kind of know what you need to do after the match starts. This is what I am seeing. Like, you don't know how strong his cup is going to be, whether you will be able to maintain flat wrist against him or you can top roll him. Like, I don't think any one of you know that right now.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. And that's one thing I'm happy about is the fact that neither of us know. I think helps me. I believe I'm a much more diverse arm wrestler in a technique sense. I believe I'm far better at adapting to an adjustment in a technical respect. I pride myself on comeback wins in super matches. When I went on that 11-match super match streak, I think 6 or 7 of those matches I lost the first round, and yet I won all of them. I don't mind. I'm okay losing the first round. I usually go away from the first round going, okay, I felt their lane, that was superior, but I also felt a pretty strong suspicion that over here they're weak or they're not ready or it's not protected as well. And then I'll go to that door, not with an obvious setup, but just with a decoy. I mean, I pride myself on technical arm wrestling, the combat side of the sport, traps and dead spaces. I'll make them believe I'm going somewhere, and then I'll go to where their weakness is. Prior to a match, I'll analyze and try to the best of my ability, win round one, because I want to win all the rounds. I never lose the first round deliberately, but so I will anticipate what I think it's going to feel like, based on his superior bicep, his superior wrist flexion, and I think our arms are going to be very similar. We're very similar height, very similar elbow to wrist length. His hand is bigger, but I believe our elbow to fingertip is ultimately the same. So if his hand is bigger, that means my wrist line's above his. So I'm very calculated. My wrist line will be above his, but our fingertips will be the same. And I'm very calculated. And when it comes to the biomechanics of the direction off the go, very calculated on what needs to happen. So I don't even know. Rob, it's probably confusing Rob if he's listening to this. When I talk about me having a slightly higher wrist line than him, he probably has no idea what that means in terms of how that affects his hand. He's probably confused already. He was confused when Giannis was talking to him about his promotion being defeated by Sasha. He didn't know what that meant. So this is what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with a really strong, basic moving arm wrestler.
Good that you mentioned the Justin Bishop match. You said that you were faster than Justin. We know that you lost that match, but both of you have progressed. You in terms of overall improvement and Justin in terms of weight. So he has gained a lot of weight since then, I believe. So he has also gotten better. So right now you could be close, or I believe you could have slight advantage. You can beat Justin Bishop right now. I'm sure you think the same. Like, you can beat Justin Bishop. Let's assume that right now. And when we saw Justin against Rob,
yeah, I do. I do. I believe I could beat Justin. I believe I could beat him, and in the way that I beat him last time, which was the top roll. I believe I could top roll him. I believe I had last time I took his wrist, but he had superior side. I don't think I had that problem anymore. If I took Justin's wrist now, he would not pull through me. I also believe I could beat him if it ended up in a hook. I'm not sure I could necessarily force a hook, but if Justin was scared of me top rolling him and he gripped me deep, then we'd just go in. And I believe if we went in, I think I'd win. So I just, within myself, I feel I have the game to beat Justin at the moment. And Justin took a round off Rob and didn't look out of place for sure. He faced him. So again, anyone who thinks this is a gross mismatch is they're just ill-educated on the balances of power. And yeah, it's the reality of it. You'll see come March 27th.
Yeah, so that Justin versus Rob match could be a big point of consideration for you, because even in second round he was able to take Rob right to the pad, and then Rob brought him back, and the third round entered quite in the center, then Rob pinned him.
And honestly, there is no way I'm going, if I get Rob down to 2 inches from victory, I will not be dragged back and pinned. I just won't. I have better endurance. I won't make the mistake of giving away all my access and security like Justin did. Justin made an error in that second round where he overcommitted to the attempt to pin, and he lost his hand position. He didn't have any security in his hand. I will not do that. If I drive and move Rod's arm that way and he stops me, he will then have to get through a perfect defense. My defense I will not give away my hand and wrist and compromise my control at the expense of looking for a pin. If I pin Rob, I will be pinning Rob when I have full control. There won't be any desperate side pressure with everything gone, unless he's blowing through my hand and taking it off me by force. So I won't make that same mistake Justin did. But it is a good point that Justin was able to do that. And reality is my balance level with Justin is fair.
And when you asked me how I think that match is going to go, I was thinking about you pinning Rob as soon as you get a chance to, or maybe trying to bleed him, because I genuinely believe that in round one you will definitely get that chance, just like Justin Bishop. So I think a wise decision for you, if you believe your endurance is better, to be hold him in a position. If you're, like you said, you're confident,
trust me,
he's not going to bring you back.
I've already started saying I'm going to make Rob pin himself, and the psychology of having that said to you by someone, it pisses you off, and I know it would piss Rob off immensely. Rob would hate it more than anything to pin himself, but the flip side is keep fighting, and if he's going to keep fighting in an inferior position, it's only going to cost him in the later rounds. So will Rob be brave enough to actually pin himself and look me in the eye and know that I was right in when I said that? Because I won't pin him. If in round one, if I get control, I will not pin him. He will have to pin himself. I won't do it. I will keep it there and say, how long are we going to fight this for? I will fight from here for the next hour if you don't pin yourself. I will. I'll just stay here because it's only draining your fuel more than mine. So he will have to. If I'm going to win that round one, it is with him pinning himself, or him double elbow fouling or something.
And you need to do that as well, because we have seen that he can come back from first loss. Like your super matches, you lose round one. Same thing has happened with Rob for a long time. Like he loses round one, then he comes back. So I think it is a must for you. And most of the times it is a wise decision to pin yourself if you are saying that you're losing the endurance battle because of the superior position your opponent is in. But when someone has told you that you are going to pin yourself, man, you need to rethink those thoughts. Maybe your ego won't let you pin yourself.
Like I said, he's going to hate it. If it goes that way, that he's in that position and he has to make that decision, it's a very hard decision, because I'm the last person on earth he wants to concede that to. He will want to fight. Every fiber of his body, instinct he has, will say, fight back. Do not pin yourself. He'll want me to pin him. And because the thing is, often when you get a superior position and you've got every fundamental wrapped up, it's still difficult to pin. Even from here, if I'm here on someone, it's not easy to press through. And someone of Rob's bicep strength, it's not going to be easy to press through. But the thing about being in this position is it's an unbreakable defense. Rob could not, if I'm here, Rob cannot get out. But he can stop me from pinning him. But the longer we sit there and wait for something to happen, the more he bleeds and the less I bleed. So he will, and that's the thing that makes people fight as well. Not only is that the mental position, but Rob's bicep strength is still going to be enough that I wouldn't be able to get through. But the thing is, I won't try. I'll know I can't get through, and I will just go, all right, we're here. I'll set up shop and set up camp, and I'll sit here. What about you? Are you going to sit there, or are you? And because he's going to say to me, he might, if his ego is too big, he'll be like, pin me then, and I'll be like, no, I said you're going to pin yourself, because he'll know that I can't pin him yet, and that's probably true. I've been in that position before where I can't actually pin. I've seen Devin Larratt against Matt Mask in that position where Devin's here and Matt says pin it, and Devin says I can't, but Devin's in utter control and Matt can't get out, and eventually Matt pins himself. It's a very interesting style of arm wrestling. I love it. It's a Devin Larratt strategy. I really resonate with it. It feels good on the table. It's where I would most ideally love to end up. How I get there, it's quite a journey, but I'd love to end up right here.
So any predictions you have for that match?
Oh, look, I'm respectfully, I expect it to be a match. I'm coming in with the intent of winning it 6-0. But respectfully, I believe Rob and I are very even. Like I said, I believe he has superior strength in the bicep. I believe he has superior strength in the wrist flexion. I believe I have a superior elbow and side pressure if the match is supinated. I believe I have more endurance. I believe he has more explosivity in a power sense. I expect this to be a match. Yeah. So I'm not going to give it a prediction. I'm coming in with the intent of winning, but anyone could win on the day. I'm fine with that. I just want my opportunity, and I'll give it everything I got.
So I'll tell you my prediction about that match. About a month ago, I openly said that if that match happens a year from now, towards the end of 2022, I have Ryan Bowen winning in that match. Why? Because I cited my reasons. Rob is not really pursuing arm wrestling as professionally as he should, and Ryan's trajectory is upwards because he takes it like really professional manner.
Yeah.
And just because I'm your friend, I'm not going to say you are going to win this match. I'll give my honest opinion. And so how I see this match going is, yeah, I think that there is a strength gap between you two. I think that. And for that reason, I'm going to say that this match for you maybe is happening about 4, 5, or maybe 6 months too early. I would say that Rob is going to win that match 4-2 with you taking the first 2 rounds. And the only way you can reverse it is by, like you said, not pinning him. If you are able to bleed him enough in the first couple of rounds, then you may have a chance to win. But I think more than endurance, you are going to win the first 2 rounds of speed. This is what I believe.
Man, if Rob can come back from 2-0 down, then I'll be impressed, because Rob will be in a very dark place mentally at 2-0 down. He might have the physicality to do it, but that's a very pressure situation to be down 2-0 in Rob's shoes. He doesn't want to be. I'm actually okay being down 2-0. Me down 2-0, I'm still like, no, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I can feel it. It's coming. Here it is. It's about to happen. I will. If I've identified the lane, and the lane is there, but he's just too strong in round 1, round 2, I will be feeling that lane's gassing, getting weaker and weaker, and I'll be like, here it comes, there it is. Once one stop happens in a genuine position, I'll take every round from there. So I don't mind a 4-2 result, but I see it the other way around. I see Rob's power being more dangerous early. I'm not worried about his power at the end. I'm worried about his power early.
Right. So I would say that people would assume from some things that Rob and I have said about each other that I desperately want you to win. Not the case like that. Of course, I may have some, like, I may want you to win just a little bit, but I won't be mad at all if Rob Vision takes this win. So I hope it is a good match. And should I say I hope you win? Because I've made my prediction. Like, I'm really confused. You
say whatever you want, Pradeep. You could say it. It's all right.
Yeah. One thing I would pat myself on my back for one reason is that I'm genuinely able to separate my emotions from my arm wrestling discussions and predictions. Like, I'm never confused, not even for once. I never confuse my emotions with my, like, I'm going to say something about Michael Todd and he kind of goes after me for saying these things. I genuinely believe that Michael Todd is not at all able to separate his emotions from his arm wrestling predictions. Yeah, like we have heard him say things like, even yesterday he said that Corey West could be a favorite against Alex Cordecha. We have seen Michael
Cool.
Todd say things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And these are total emotions. These are total emotions. So let's hope it is a good match. Let's hope it is a good match. I won't be totally mad if Rob Vichant wins that match, and I'll be happy if you win that match. So let's talk about.
It's the match I've been waiting. It's the match I've been waiting for so long. I can't wait for it. I really am happy that it's happened. I'm happy Rob's excited. It's the coming out party that I've been waiting for. And yeah, just bring it on. Bring it on.
And hi, Rob Vichant. I know you're watching this video. I want you to be on my channel next.